kids, where are you? It's time for all the art to tell stories.
In the quiet little village of Meadow Hollow, a playful dog named Baker lived with his best friend, a young girl named Clara. Baker loved running through fields, chasing butterflies, and playing fetch with Clara. But there was one thing Baker avoided: books. Clara loved reading and often sat in the garden with her favorite stories. While Baker would snuggle beside her, he'd tilt his head quizzically as she giggled or gasped at the pages. He just didn't understand why those flat objects made her so happy. One day, Clara showed Baker a book about a brave dog who traveled through jungles and crossed rivers to rescue his friends. She read aloud with enthusiasm, her voice bringing the story to life. Baker barked excitedly, imagining himself as the courageous dog in the story. "You like this, don't you, Baker?" Clara asked with a smile. Baker wagged his tail in agreement. Then Clara added, "Wouldn't it be great if you could read this on your own?" Baker froze. The thought of reading seemed overwhelming. The next day, Clara brought a box filled with colorful flashcards. Each card had a picture on one side and a word on the other. "This is an apple," Clara said, showing Baker a card with a bright red fruit. "A-P-P-P-L-E." Baker stared at the letters, his tail wagging slowly. Clara held up another card. "This is a ball, your favorite toy." Recognizing the ball, Baker barked in excitement. Clara praised him and gave him a treat. Day by day, they practiced. Clara taught Baker letters first, then small words. Baker sometimes grew frustrated when he couldn't get it right, but Clara's patience and encouragement kept him going. "You're doing great, Baker," she said one day. "Remember, every great adventurer starts somewhere." One rainy afternoon, when they couldn't play outside, Clara opened a book titled The Adventures of Scout the Brave Dog. "This is a story about a dog who finds treasure hidden in a forest," she said. "Let's read it together." As Clara read, Baker's imagination took flight. He pictured himself a scout, leaping over fallen logs, sniffing out clues, and uncovering a chest filled with shiny treasures. "That's what books do, Baker," Clara explained. For the first time, Baker felt excited about reading. He wanted to experience more stories like this one, but to do that, he needed to learn. Learning to read wasn't easy. Baker struggled with longer words and sometimes mixed up letters. He often felt tempted to give up, but Clara always reminded him of the adventures waiting for him in books. One evening, Clara turned reading into a game. She wrote simple words on pieces of paper and hid them around the house. Each time Baker found a word and barked at it, Clara cheered and gave him a treat. Slowly, Baker started recognizing words like dog, run, and tree. Each small victory filled him with pride. "You're getting better every day, Baker," Clara said. After weeks of practice, Clara gave Baker his very own book, The Brave Pup and the Hidden Cave. "This is for you," she said. "Let's read it together." Baker barked happily, wagging his tail. Together, they sounded out the words. At first, it was slow and challenging, but Baker was determined. By the end of the day, he managed to read his first sentence. The pup ran to the cave. Clara clapped her hands in delight and Baker barked triumphantly. "You did it, Baker," Clara said. As Baker practiced, reading became easier. Soon, he could read entire pages on his own. Clara introduced him to more books, each filled with exciting stories about daring rescues, mysterious forests, and faraway lands. One of Baker's favorite books was about a team of animals who worked together to solve a mystery. He imagined himself as the clever detective, sniffing out clues and solving the case. Baker also discovered books that taught him new things. The more he read, the more he realized how much there was to learn. Word of Baker's new skills spread quickly in Meadow Hollow. The other animals were curious and wanted to know more about the magic of books. One day, Clara suggested, "Why don't we start a reading club, Baker? You can share your favorite stories with everyone." Baker barked excitedly. He loved the idea of helping others discover the joy of reading. Clara and Baker set up a cozy reading corner under the big oak tree, complete with blankets and a stack of books. Animals from all over the village came to listen as Baker read aloud. The squirrels chattered excitedly, the rabbits twitched their noses. Even the grumpy old cat purred softly as Baker brought the stories to life. As time went on, Baker's love for reading grew. He read about space exploration, ancient treasures, and even cooking. One day, he tried a recipe from a book and made delicious peanut butter treats with Clara's help. Books became a window to the world, showing Baker that there was no limit to what he could imagine or learn. One evening, as Baker and Clara sat under the stars, he looked at her with bright, happy eyes. "See, Baker?" Clara said, stroking his fur. "Reading isn't just about words on a page. It's about exploring, dreaming, and discovering new worlds." Baker barked softly, his tail wagging. He finally understood. From that day on, Baker became Meadow Hollow's reading ambassador. He continued to share stories with his friends and even inspired some of them to start learning to read. Every book Baker opened was a new adventure waiting to be discovered. And no matter how many stories he read, he knew there were always more out there, waiting for him to turn the page. Baker had started his journey thinking reading was hard, but now he saw it as a key to infinite possibilities, a world of endless adventures all at his paws. If you like our stories, please like, subscribe, and turn on the little bell so you won't miss exciting stories every day. You are also welcome to share it with family and friends to listen to the story together. Love you.